Good morning. The last few videos I have been focused on proving that the Gospels are a reliable historical account. And the reason that I felt the need to do this as part of my argument is that for some people, they're willing to accept Jesus, that he was a historical figure, but they want to limit him to being something of a great moral teacher, someone to respect and emulate, somebody to admire from the past and whose teachings we can meditate on and learn from. I'm reminded of a famous example from history, and that would be our founding father, Thomas Jefferson. Jefferson was not only a founding father of our country, a slave owner, and the like. He was also a committed deist. That is, he believed in God kind of philosophically, the God that we were arguing for in the earlier videos. But he had a problem with the idea that this God, this watchmaker God of the deists, would actually intervene supernaturally. And therefore, when he looked at Christianity, and he was superficially a Christian yet, he wanted a Jesus who was this moral teacher. And at one point, among his documents, he sought to literally clip out those aspects of the Gospels that were too supernatural for him. And there is today a document you can read, which is known as Jefferson's Bible, which is basically a copy and paste job, where he eliminates anything that he deemed unacceptable to natural reason, the idea that God was supernaturally intervene. The problem with this is that the four evangelists, as we've already covered, they believed these things, like Lazarus at the tomb. They saw Lazarus come out of his tomb knowing full well that he had died. Jesus commands him to come out. He comes out. They witnessed this, and they were willing to die for what they saw of Jesus and Jesus's miracles. That's why they included these things in the Gospels. So to eliminate these based on one's own prejudice that God cannot intervene supernaturally, there's no greater hubris than that, I would say. You have to accept the Gospels as historical documents in full. Not just that Jesus was a great moral teacher, but that he worked miracles and that his followers truly believed that he rose from the dead and they witnessed him as such. So Jesus said some pretty radical things that we need to contemplate. He claimed, for instance, to be the Messiah. So if we're considering which world religion is the true religion, either he was the Messiah as he claimed. St. Peter confesses, "Thou art the Christ," right? In Matthew 16, and Jesus makes him the head of the church. "Thou art Peter, and upon this rock I shall build my church," when Peter acknowledges that he is the Christ. Thomas, after the resurrection, confesses, "My Lord and my God." And Jesus does not rebuke him, does not say, "How could you call me God? There's only one God in heaven, the Father." He embraces Thomas. He tells him, "Put your hand in my side, feel the nail holes." He doesn't rebuke him when Thomas says that he is God. He says, "I and the Father are one." I am reminded of C.S. Lewis's famous, what is called the trilemma. He says, when you look at Jesus, the things that he actually said, there are really only three options. First of all, he's a liar. Like, he knows these things aren't true. And for whatever reason, he says them anyway. Or he's a lunatic. That is, he's crazy. Who would say these things and attract followers? He's either a liar, he's a lunatic, or he's Lord. That's the trilemma. One of these three options must be the case. If Jesus is a liar, why would he die for his lies? There's no benefit to telling these lies, in the same way that there was no benefit for the evangelists in reporting them. It leads to death, and Jesus knew he would die. And similarly, there's no evidence that he was a lunatic, or how could he have attracted the followers that he did if he were in fact crazy? And that leaves one option. We must truly consider whether Jesus was Lord. Those are my 5 minutes for today. God bless.